This episode of Techzilla is sponsored by Dolby's HD, Domain.com, and the United States Air Force. Coming up on today's show, faster internet, FiOS now or wait for faster cable? Video card question for you, is memory size important? And adding virtual desktop to Windows and a website that'll let you print anything. So kick off your flip-flops, loosen that bow tie, and pop open that energy drink like Veronica does, because Techzilla starts now. Welcome to Techzilla. I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Veronica Belmont.
You're a Kindle user, are you not?
Yes, the wonderful ebook reader from Amazon. Yes, I am.
And well, you know what? There's a reason we brought that up. In a story by PCMag.com, it seems that Oprah Winfrey, you are not alone in your use
apparently
of the Kindle.
In
Oprah
a big
Winfrey,
way.
yes, host of America's favorite daytime talk show, plugged the Kindle saying, and I quote, "It's absolutely my new favorite thing in the world." The end result, Amazon's offering $50 off a new Kindle if you use the code Oprah Winfrey. It's good until November 1st or today if you're watching Saturday. How's that for star power?
Yeah, that's definitely the power of Oprah. Her book club picks are like the ultimate blessing for an author. If you get your name mentioned on that show, I mean, forget Sword and Laser. If Oprah Winfrey talks about you, you're in the big kids club, because that's a big deal.
And you can't really, I mean, what can you say about Oprah? Positive force in the universe.
I think Oprah is a pretty awesome lady, actually. I think she's done a lot of good for the world, and I'm just surprised she's just finding out about the Kindle now. Like, why now? It's been out for quite some time now, at least a year, right?
She's running a media empire. She does a daily television show.
Oh, but come on.
She reads her books.
Suddenly it's her new favorite thing. Well, it's okay, because it's my new favorite thing, too, so I can't judge too much.
Should we do an all Oprah show?
What would that entail?
I have no idea, but I want everybody to think about that. I do know, though, that there are thousands of people out there who are looking for our help.
That is very true. I think it's time to begin answering some questions, my burly friend.
David! Oh, there are some questions we just can't resist, and David, yours happens to be one of them.
Yep, he says, I'm looking for some sort of system to enable me to watch video podcasts directly on my TV.
I wonder why we're so enthusiastic about this question.
I wonder why. Will an Apple TV let me do this? Are there any ideally cheaper alternatives? And finally, whatever I use would need both SDTV and HDTV compatibility, since I have not yet made the switch to HDTV yet, David. Well, the Apple TV will certainly solve your problem, though a lot of viewers out there will want us to add that the PS3 and Xbox 360, or older modded Xboxin, will work to stream video onto your TV.
We've got a bunch of people who be like, why don't you ever talk about how amazing the Xbox is for browsing media? And it's like, because we don't.
It is pretty
own
amazing.
one,
I mean, they're great home media devices.
So.
I mean, consoles are kind of the wave of the future.
The wave
of the future. In fact, they might actually work better than the Apple TV for your regular old TV, since the Apple TV only supports standard def televisions if they have component video input.
Which none of these standard def televisions I've owned in the last few years have had.
So that's a problem.
On the flip side, that 40 gigabyte Apple TV is going to cost you a little less than an Xbox 360 and about a third less than a PS3. Media extenders for Windows Media Player are great, but unless you're buying a much older, discounted, on-the-rack, refurbished kind of model, they tend to cost at least as much as a PS3. Thinking a little cheaper? Hey, we're in a financial crisis here in the United States. If you have an iPod or a Zune, just connect that using the video cable and connect that to your standard def TV. The Popcorn Hour A100, clunky interface, but it'll play just about anything and look gorgeous over standard def or HD TV connections, and it comes in at like $1 under 180 bucks.
Yeah, and hey, you can even recycle an old PC with a cheap video card to play video onto your regular old TV. It turns out as video outputs on new graphics cards are a lot easier to find online than they are in our local stores. Mr. Norton, who didn't check Newegg.
Sorry, my bad. I'd say I got an angry email, and it's like, wow, there's 546 video cards for sale on Newegg, and 342 of them have S-video outputs, and I haven't seen one in a local store.
I mean,
forever.
You're not always checking everything possible online. You're going on your own personal experience, but you should.
I should.
That's right. Oh, and you know, another good thing about the Apple TV is that you can put Boxee on it.
Yeah.
We've talked about Boxee before. We just did that at home, and it's really cool.
You're like, you've gone from like mildly enthusiastic about the Boxee to like.
No, I like it a lot. I mean, we actually, I've been watching Hulu on it all the time now.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to watch the old SNL clips that have just come out like the night before.
Oh my goodness.
On your TV, like big, it's nice.
And it's kind of cool about Hulu is they're actually making it easier to get it on other platforms too. David, we hope we have thoroughly answered your question. Anybody out there, if you've got a better idea you think about getting video podcasts specifically onto a television, email us, texzilla@revision3.com.
Let us know. But we have another new question.
I like that thought.
And this one says, Dear Patrick and Veronica, I have a huge audio library and they are mostly stored on my laptop. I do carry an 80 gigabyte iPod, but I wanted to know if there is a way I can stream my music from my house and listen to them at work while being able to control what plays. Thanks, Warren.
Oh boy.
Well, Warren, he didn't say whether he has a Mac or PC on either end. So there's a few different combinations of things that you can do.
Well, we're also going to assume you've got a fairly fast pipe at work,
Right,
and
you
they
should definitely
don't
have broadband on both
limit
sides.
to your internet connection at the office.
So if you have a PC, there's one option that we all definitely agree on, and that's Orb. You download it to your computer and then select the kind of media that you want to share with yourself and others on the go. It's totally free, which is of course awesome, and you can select who you want to be able to view your media once you sign up for the service at mycast.com. Like I said, you need a PC to run it, but you can stream to almost anything, a Mac, a phone, or even a gaming console like we mentioned.
Quite possibly a rock. Orb, they've done a lot. I mean, I joke, but they've done a really good job of supporting a ton of devices. And there are other options such as Genzora and Avenue. Genzora is a bit more complicated because you're actually setting up a home web server. Avenue enables you to stream your library to your Windows Mobile smartphone for the folks out there that are using a Windows Mobile smartphone, which used to include me but no longer does. If you have a Mac at home and a Windows PC at work, there's another somewhat hands-on fix for this we found at Sevitz.com. According to the author, Adrian, he's creating an SSH tunnel, or SH tunnel, between the local Windows and the remote Mac machines using the Rendezvous proxy, which is pretty slick. Got a better idea for this problem? Where do they go?
They can email it to us at texzilla@revision3.com. I was having a lot of trouble finding a Mac-to-Mac solution for this. I'm sure there's got to be something you can do with sharing, but I don't know. When you're not on the same network, that's got to be harder.
Yeah, well, I'm sure there's... Email us. Put audio streaming in the subject line, texzilla@revision3.com.
We only have the time to skim the surface. You guys like to go way deep with this, so you can help us.
That was a pretty decent
I guess
skim.
that was pretty deep. Yeah, that was pretty...
I mean, we didn't go in depth on Orb. Orb is so easy to set up. Trust us. Speaking of trusting us, how about a message from one of our sponsors? Dolby, ladies and gentlemen. We've been working with Dolby and learning about their technology for years, and one thing we focus on is the role that great sound plays in an entertainment system. According to Craig over at Dolby, with HD TV you see the rain, but with a great sound system you reach for your umbrella.
Oh.
It can be confusing knowing just what to buy, but like everything at Dolby, they have a solution. Dolby has prepared a brochure that's available as a free download. Just go to www.dolby.com/HDguide. What you're looking for is titled HD Essentials, Get in the Middle of the Action. It's got everything you need to know, info on the digital TV transition, a glossary of terms, even which cables to get with your new system. So if you're looking to get an HD TV or a home theater setup, or if you just have tons of friends looking for advice, do yourself a favor and visit www.dolby.com/HDguide. And do us a favor here at Texzilla, support us by supporting our sponsors.
Welcome to this week's freebie download pick, a free program that we find useful, fun, or incredibly interesting. This week's pick, VirtuaWin. Do you feel like you're running out of available desktop space in Windows? Do you envy OS X's spaces or Linux multi-console function? Then you might need to try VirtuaWin. VirtuaWin is an open source tool that allows you to create multiple virtual desktops, allowing you to expand your desktop as much as you need. By default, VirtuaWin gives you a 2x2 arrangement. A simple use of the Windows and arrow key will bring you to each one. Or if you wish to create your own hotkey combos, or if you're not the keyboard shortcut type, use the mouse instead. If you need to gather all your open Windows spread across all your virtual spaces onto one desktop, just right-click on the system tray icon and select Gather Windows. If you're feeling adventurous, you can even customize the way VirtuaWin handles different kinds of windows based on several parameters. If you've been feeling constrained by your limited desktop space and don't feel like spending money on a larger monitor, VirtuaWin might be just the answer you're looking for.
All right, up next, Eric's looking for some help on his next big road trip.
Or at least he's looking for help staying connected. Eric wrote in, I'm about to take a 10,000 plus mile road trip around the US. I would like to have internet access wherever I go. Which service has the fastest connection and best coverage? AT&T, Verizon, or Sprint? Could you also do a quick review on broadband card technology? What should I be looking for? Thanks, Eric, and from Dallas.
That's a seriously long road trip.
That's like, he must be going in a circle.
Yeah.
because when I drove cross country to
Maybe
get
a
out to San
figure eight.
Francisco, I think it's only like 3,000 miles or something, 2,500 miles.
Basically, East Coast to West Coast to East Coast is 6,000 miles. So
Okay,
actually,
I
that's-
went down south and then went up. Maybe it was longer than that.
Maybe
It was
35,
a long
38.
time ago. I don't remember these things.
In any case, Eric, here's a hot tip for you. Staying close to interstates in big cities makes staying connected a lot easier, especially if you want the fat 3G EVDO speeds. The fastest data connection ever on a cell phone is useless if you're not traveling one of the major metropolitan areas that has coverage. Ask me about 1xRTT connections from hell. The nice thing is basically east of the Mississippi, it almost seems like everywhere is covered. It's when you get west of the Mississippi and the states get larger and the population density drops like a stone that suddenly you find yourself hugging the nearest interstate. Look. 1xRTT, that's basically when you drop out of the range of a 3G tower and you go from a few hundred kilobit per second downloads to under 100. It sucks. And not to change the subject, Eric, but I think you should also be looking at how much your wireless and internet access will cost you, at least if you plan on downloading and uploading a lot of stuff. There are a lot of folks that tether their notebook to their cell phone. Even if your cell provider doesn't support this or doesn't want you to do this, if you don't, say, constantly download movies all day, they probably won't notice. Email here, email there. It's cluttered in the noise. It's not going to be noticed. That can be a lot cheaper than the $60 a month you're going to pay for a dedicated EVDO modem. Dedicated cell modems, EVDO modems to your notebook, super easy to connect. Many offer support for Mac and Linux along with Windows, and you don't have to, well, sweat pissing off your provider, which is a good thing. At least if you don't break their cap. AT&T has a 5 gigabyte cap on their unlimited plan. Every additional gigabyte runs $490. They meter it by the kilobit. Break Verizon's 5 gigabyte cap, you pay $250 a gigabyte. Break Sprint's, and you'll pay $50 a gigabyte. 5 gigabyte, by the way, it's about 500,000 emails, Eric, or 3 typical movie downloads off of iTunes. You get me with the math here? Sprint, by the way, has just added those overage charges, which sucks because one of the reasons I went with Sprint was the lack of any cap, especially a 5 gigabyte cap. And by the way, along with the 5 gigabyte cap, Sprint's added the nominal, in any case, a 300 megabyte cap for roaming, which means if you leave Sprint coverage and you're using some other system, you have 300 megabytes before they get ticked. I still like Sprint the best. Basically, like literally, like the day this is hitting the street, it's the last day to get Sprint before the cap goes into effect.
So by Saturday, that will have already happened?
Basically, all new customers will have the cap. I believe I am still uncapped. They still got to sort this out. The fine print is, whenever I read phone fine print, it gets really painful. I still like Sprint the best, though. Verizon should have some of the best nationwide coverage. My experience with AT&T on the iPhone 3G leaves me not ever wanting to rely on AT&T for data access. I just feel they are trailing behind the others. That said, I cannot recommend enough that you read Sasha Sagan's write-ups on EVDO hardware at PCMag.com. He's your cell phone reviewer. He's had more hands-on time with EVDO modems than anybody I know, and he's done major roundups for the big vendors and has info on lesser-known carriers like Cricket. We've got to put a couple links for you in the show notes, and basically, this summer he pretty much went through all the new hardware for all the players you're looking for, Sprint and AT&T and Verizon. It's worth reading up.
Yeah, I've had experience using Verizon and Sprint for EVDO, and both have worked very well for me. But I can definitely vouch for the fact that 3G on the iPhone is not as widespread as I would like it to be, or as reliable as I would like it to be. It was weird. I was in New Orleans this past weekend, and I was at a festival. And it was good all day, and then the second nighttime came around for some reason, the 3G just dropped off the map. Like it had never even been there. I'm like, what happened?
Solar flares!
I don't know, does it have an effect when too many people are trying to access 3G on one tower at a time?
It's kind of like, you know how a cable modem, everybody on your node on the cable modem shares the access?
Right.
And so, at 6 o'clock, everybody comes home and all of a sudden your download speeds go through the floor. Well, a 3G modem is essentially like that. Everybody logged into that tower shares a finite amount of bandwidth. I personally think, oh beloved AT&T, that you did not put enough bandwidth on the individual towers here in the Bay Area, because we got a whole lot of cell phones. But I'll be honest with you,
a whole lot of iPhones in the Bay Area, let me tell you.
The iPhones in other places, and they haven't even had 3G coverage. So I just got to say, I'm sticking with Sprint or Verizon out of those three choices.
Probably a good idea. But up next, we have a V-mail from Anthony.
Hi, Anthony.
Hey, Patrick and Veronica. I was curious, when upgrading a graphics card, should I be more concerned about total memory size or with the memory interface? Thanks.
So, should you be more concerned about the total video card RAM size or video RAM interface when upgrading your video card? Honestly, Anthony, your issues will resolve more around the GPU or graphics processing unit you pick, since that will determine your VRAM size and type.
Now, the obvious question here, Anthony, do you want a game? If that's a yes, that's going to send you down one path where you were in search of big honking 3D performance. If you answer no, suddenly things get cheap because you're going down an entirely different path.
Right. Let's just say you want a game and pick up something like an ATI 4850. Almost all 4850s on the market ship with 512 megabytes of GDDR3 RAM.
I like saying that.
Is that the right way to say it? I hate acronyms.
Yeah, GDDR.
Whatever. If that is even an acronym, which it's not. It's just shortening it. When it comes to RAM size, the screen resolution you want to play a game at is a determining factor. But unless you really plan on playing at resolutions beyond 1900 by 1200, you're good with 512 megabytes. The interface is secondary simply because there really isn't much of a choice outside high-end and priced models.
Yeah. Now, this all kind of changes if you pick an NVIDIA processor like the 260 or 280, the big honking power-sucking beasts of high-performance joy or brute force. In that case, your memory options are 896 megabytes or 1 gigabyte, and all the 280s we've seen are gigabyte. The answer boils down to this. Pick the GPU model you want and work out from there. But honestly, unless you manage to score a 30-inch plus monitor with a ridiculous resolution or a really good price on a 1 gigabyte card, you're fine with the stock RAM size, around 512 megabytes in most cases. The higher the resolution you want to play out, the more video RAM you're going to need. As to the VRAM interface, well, for now, GDDR3 is still king, although GDDR5 is making inroads, but only at the high-end premium versions.
Hey!
Hey!
What happened to GDDR4?
Short answer is that ATI came up with what it used in a few models in the 2600 and 2900 range, but most vendors went eh. The situation is actually pretty similar with GDDR5. I think a few ATIs, 4870 models have it, but for now it's a GDDR3 kind of world. Let's say you want to get your 15 seconds of internet fame. Well, you can send us a video. All you need to do is record yourself in front of a video camera, ask you a question no longer than 15 seconds, then upload them to YouTube and email us with the link video question in the subject line, and no attachments unless you want to send Veronica a case of brain tonic.
I like that thought.
I bet you do. It's time now to thank one of our sponsors that helps us bring the show to you each and every week. This one's Domain.com. Tekzilla fans, this is your chance to save big with our sponsor, Domain.com. They're offering a sweet deal on domains, private registrations, and hosting. Just go to www.domain.com, use coupon code TEK1, that's TEK1 when you check out. You're going to score 25% off on your order. While you're there, do yourself a favor and take a look at Domain.com's new hosting plans. They now offer monthly hosting plans with no setup fee and no long-term commitment for under $6 a month. And if you're looking for more power, check out their popular virtual private server plans. Whether you're looking to start up a blog or a new business, Domain.com's hosting plans will get you up and running. Got a great idea? It all starts with a great domain, Domain.com. Do us a favor here at Tekzilla. Support us by supporting our sponsors, like Domain.com.
Looks like it's time for another websites we just can't get enough of. A website that we just can't stay away from because it's too useful, too funny, or just too darn irresistible. This week's pick, printwhatyoulike.com. We've all been there. Either you're printing out movie theater tickets or some kind of MapQuest page, for example, and suddenly you're stuck with 3 pages of full-color ads and other crap that you just don't need. Sure, you can tell the printer exactly which pages you want printed, but there's always a chance you could miss the info you want. Luckily, there's a solution to cutting out all the clutter. Printwhatyoulike.com is a great web-based service that enables you to take the web page you want to print and modify it to have just what you want on paper. This is great, especially when there's no printer-ready version available on the site. When you enter the URL of the page you want to edit, you'll get a sidebar that pops up and gives you some helpful options like remove images and background. You can also manually select regions on the page to delete. And if there's a block of text that you want to print, just hit the isolate button and it'll be separated from the rest of the pack. When you're all done, just hit print on the sidebar and you'll get your tailor-made page. Save yourself some ink and frustration with printwhatyoulike.com.
Anybody want a faster internet connection?
Also Tony. Yeah, Tony says, I hear that Comcast will be expanding DOCSIS 3 to offer speeds that rival the 50 megabits per down, 20 megabits up of Verizon's FiOS. So you say FiOS and I say FiOS.
I'm probably wrong.
Who's right?
Probably you.
My current provider offers lousy service that drops out several times a week. The people I know with FiOS have no such complaints. Should I switch to FiOS or hold out for DOCSIS 3? I edit video and spend a lot of time transferring projects to and from the web. I need something faster!
Okay.
Más rápido!
Más rápido.
Rapidamente!
We should answer this one in Spanish, except my Spanish accent is worse
La
than my
primera
English
pregunta,
accent.
Tony.
That was epic. First question, Tony, can you get FiOS or FiOS in your home? Second question, how fast can you switch? Seriously, barring some crazy cable TV phone internet access combo offer that like they pay you, your cable provider does to use it, I would take faster access now over the possibility of faster access later after they roll out the hardware or software upgrades. And like you, everybody I know with Verizon's FiOS or FiOS is seriously thrilled with it. Now, I'm assuming the reports that you heard about DOCSIS 3.0 are for the 8-channel DOCSIS. DOCSIS is the Data Over Cable Service Interface specification that's put out by Cable Labs, which makes it the default spec, the standard for US cable companies, and all the partners they work with, which are the companies that make networking equipment for them. 8-channel DOCSIS doubles the available download bandwidth for your node, i.e. the group of people connected on your cable mode. Basically, you know, it's like an Ethernet network. Your neighborhood is on cable, it connects, it goes to the network, to the network, to the network. In any case, that means you're sharing 343 megabits per second up from 171 megabits per second for uploads, but leaves downloads, 343 megabits per second downloads up from 171, but leaves the upload bandwidth shared by everybody in your neighborhood at 122 megabits per second. Last I checked, FiOS had 622 megabits downstream and 155 megabits upstream, and divided it over no more than 32 homes. Yeah, I'm thinking that's a pretty good deal. Mucho faster downloads, slightly faster upload bandwidth. I'd go with FiOS in a heartbeat if we had it in San Francisco.
I've actually considered moving to have it.
Yes.
That's how good it is.
Everybody I've talked to with it has just been like, yeah, I got the new Verizon.
Yeah, awesome. You know,
it's
blazing fast.
Yeah, your access sucks, Pat.
I download your show in like 1 minute.
Yeah, and it's not going to make things faster if the server doesn't feed it faster at the other end. But there's a whole lot of stuff it'll make faster. Like if you're uploading, you know, your giant video files to a giant video server with amazing access, yes, you will be able to saturate this puppy and make yourself happy as your giant video downloads, or I should say uploads, take considerably less time.
You know what else is fast?
What's that?
The United States Air Force.
Ooh.
And we have a message from them right now.
I'm Lieutenant Colonel John Wagner, United States Air Force. I'm the commander of the 45th Launch Support Squadron. You know, I've always wanted to be a part of the space program, and you know, the Air Force is an exciting place to do just that. Most people don't realize the Air Force space program is equivalent to NASA in size and scope, and in most cases larger. You know, the shuttle launches about once a month, and I've got 3 launches here in the next 30 days. So if you want to be in the space program, the Air Force is a great way to do it.
All right, Veronica. Yep, we moved the viewer response stuff, the feedback.
It's true. It wasn't at the beginning of the show.
It's here.
D block. It's in the D block now, huh?
Are you in?
I think I can do some viewer responses in the D block today.
You can accommodate.
I think I can make some time in my very, very busy party schedule.
Yi emailed in from Jakarta, that's in Indonesia. He's given a thumbs up to the Asus eBox as a do-it-all home server and says, I use it for BitTorrent, HTTP downloads, Hamachi, and FTP server, and even folding it home, and apparently all simultaneously.
Ooh.
It has gigabit Ethernet on the LAN, so file transfers are very fast, he says. I'm using it via Windows Remote Desktop, and he does not have a monitor connected to it. The only downside is the Wi-Fi reception. The signal strength did not perform as well. The onboard Wi-Fi adapter, not as good as a USB Wi-Fi adapter. Overall, he loves it. It's cheap, very quiet, doesn't take much space, and it comes with a 2-year warranty. Yi in Jakarta says big honking thumbs up on the eBox as a sort of mini home server.
Excellent, excellent. And yeah, next we got a dog pile of responses for Ethan. He was looking for the good router. We had you send in router recos. It can be pretty much sorted into 3 piles. The biggest pile said to get an older Linksys WRT54G or Netgear's WGR614L open source router or Linksys WRT 310N and throw the DDWRT or Tomato firmware on there, which is what I always recommend that people do because I love it. It's great. You did that on system, right?
Yeah, we have we'll put a link in the show notes. We did a whole episode on installing the Tomato firmware on it. We had literally there were 80% of the responses we got were Tomato firmware or DDWRT on a Linksys
It just
or other
works.
router.
I mean, it just works really, really
It's
well.
bomb-proof. It's kept me from throwing my Linksys router out.
Yeah, and then a much smaller pile said to build a router out of an old PC. Smooth wall, monowall, untangle, and the Astaro security gateway each had their fans in this pile of emails for sure.
Yeah, literally, that was like a much smaller spot. In the smallest pile, the littlest
The
pile,
littlest, tiniest pile.
2 emails. One suggested, well, basically each suggested their own router. Jamal says the Linksys WRT 600N wireless N gigabit router with storage link is a long, long name, but he says it's the way to go if money is no object for, ouch, $399. It functions as a router, a media server, a wired Ethernet hub, and a NAS, which you could
Not
build
bad.
for nothing out of an old PC.
True.
If you will use one of the operating systems we mentioned before. And Clark, who wrote in to say the Apple Airport Extreme is worth the cost of the Apple
The
tax.
Apple tax.
He's a sophomore. He's in a college to be named at some
Okay.
other time in the Midwest, maybe in Nebraska. He's got a whole crew in a house, and he's like, from the Xbox in the basement to the iTouch upstairs, it's working perfectly.
Huh, and they're all wireless, you say?
All wireless.
All that home theater stuff is all
Hey,
wireless?
just because my select group of friends,
I'm just saying. The proof is in the emails, man.
proof is in the email.
Just week after week, I'm just gonna nail you
Hammer
with
on
all
this.
these wireless home network and home theater solutions
You
that
looking
people
good in
got
the monitor?
going. Oh, hey, what's up?
Here's a
What's up,
good
me?
one. This comes to us from JD, and it's all about mysterious problems while running 3D programs in La Vista.
La Vista,
La
he
Vista.
says. Hello, Patrick and Veronica. I've been noticing on certain programs that I use, like 3ds Max and Maya, that when I use the programs normally, the program appears to blink or flicker for a split second, and then some menus disappear, but when I scroll over to where they should be, they reappear, and then they disappear again when I move the mouse away, and then it goes on and on for infinity. He also noticed that his desktop icons blink once in a while, and I think that the computer is acting a little funny.
You think?
He has an NVIDIA 9600 GT video card with the latest drivers, and they have it sending the video data to a 24-inch LCD monitor, and he has the refresh rate set to 60 hertz. He only gets a choice of 59 or 60.
I don't think that's his problem.
I don't think that's his problem. He says he's running Windows Vista on the machine and cannot figure out why it's being so weird, and he can't seem to find the answers on the internet.
Okay. Maya, 3ds Max, 3D Studio Max, I think it's 3D Studio Max, but these are high-end 3D applications. They cost a
Right.
lot of money, and I gotta say, they tend to have really weird, peculiar things. Either everything's hunky and dory, or they get really squirrely. You have the squirrely experiences. I'm surprised the forums haven't been shouting out with news on this.
I agree, because I did find a lot of forum postings about this very problem. And we have some good news, and then we have some bad news for you
good
there.
news?
The good news, it's not a refresh rate issue, so you don't have to worry about that. The bad news is that the versions of Maya and 3ds that you're running have known issues with Vista and OpenGL.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Yeah, apparently the older versions of Maya just hardly even run on Vista at all.
Ouch.
2009 does, though.
We should also point out these
So
are
Maya 2009.
unbelievably expensive applications, or at least,
Yes.
pricey applications.
Right, so like I said, Maya 2009 will have solved these issues and will work just fine with Vista. However, there's still known issues with 3ds on Vista. Over at Autodesk, they say users running Windows Vista must turn UAC off before installing any backburner-related services and/or applications. Also, UAC must remain off while these application services are running. They actually have a whole list of all the discrepancies and caveats for 3ds 2008 with suggestions on how to implement workarounds on that very site.
I got one.
What's that?
Buy a copy of Windows XP.
Yeah, but a lot of, people like to use Vista. They like the Arrow and all that other jazz.
I'm not
No.
arguing, but I'm just thinking like it's either that or upgrade or wait
Oh, by the way, yeah, Arrow, speaking of which, that might be another way to help smooth over some issues you might be having. You can give that a try if you're not ready to upgrade
Like turn
to
it off, Arrow?
2009 yet. Just turn it off when you're
I
using
think you
them.
lose the eye candy.
You lose all the pretty. I know, you lose all the pretty. I'm sorry.
But if it means you can make your living by using your primary rendering applications, that might be worth giving it a try. Before we leave, Veronica has one last commercial message she wishes to make for the beverage that has taken over her life. She has, I hear, given up coffee and all other forms of caffeine for this. It's not true?
No, but I rule because I have done nothing but talk about Brain Tonic for the past, 6 months or so since
True.
Leo started babbling about it. And yeah, sponsor now. So
Really?
I rule.
Wow.
Yeah, we have Brain Tonic as a sponsor, an official sponsor.
The clean and intelligent think drink, no caffeine, no processed sugar, no fake anything.
So this is what I drink after I've had 3 cups of coffee and I'm still feeling a little tired. I don't feel guilty about having some Brain Tonic. I don't know if that's an official use, so don't quote me on that one. But you can visit their website at braintonic.com with a Q and use the code R3 to order some of your very own. How about that? How about them apples? I did a thing. I got them as a sponsor.
Trying to figure out what rhodiola?
It's got agave and it's got
It's got algae.
an algae. So it's like nature. It's like drinking nature in your body.
For all of you who've been watching,
Nature. Tasty.
it's all natural and stuff. For everybody who's been watching, we live on your questions. Email us, techzilla@revision3.com. Tech help, product reviews, how-tos, beverage recommendations, and the amount of caffeine we've drunk in a 24-hour period without passing out. You ask us, we'll tell you.
We'll tell you.
But we need those emails, so don't be shy.
Yep, and even better, send us in a video question when you're all hopped up on Brain Tonic. Think of all the fun you can have and the admiration of all your friends and family when they see your mug on the show. Just keep it to 16 seconds. 15. I don't know why I said 16. Whatever. We'll let it slide if it goes to 16.
16 this week.
Sure, why not? Special 1 week only promotion. 16 seconds for your video question. Upload to YouTube and send us a link in an email with video question in the subject line.
And as always, you can visit our forums at revision3.com/forum, perhaps to join Veronica in a, well, animated discussion about Brain Tonic. Plus, we got a new partnership. Our friends at Adobe are going to score you exclusive Revision 3 programming if you check out the Adobe Media Player. Along with the rest of your favorite programming from Revision 3, you can now find outtakes and extras from Tekzilla that can only be accessed via Adobe's new player. So head to revision3.com/Adobe Media Player to download the player and learn more.
Thank you guys so much for watching today.
I'm Patrick Norton.
You've had too much. You're done. You're cut off.
Whatever.
I'm Veronica Belmont.
Till next time, you've been watching Tekzilla. Have an outstanding week.
It's just,
Sparkly on. Look at your sparkly eyes.
it's just
Oh, it kissed
shiny.
the camera. See? That was so.
Whenever Veronica looks to her right, she's checking herself in the second monitor.
Giant.
Virtuoin just might be the answer you're looking for. Huh? I need oxygen.
Well, let's get a dramatic chipmunk turn.
Bum, bum, bum.